Gamers of Reddit, what video game has the best storyline? I love the story in Hades. The developers found a seldom used historic character, and thoughtfully developed him into a full, fleshed-out character that fits so perfectly in the larger Greek mythos. As well just having excellent overall writing, I think Hades has a fantastic, and open-ended storyline. I had a mental breakdown, was hospitalized, and still can't sleep without a nightlight. It has a little something for everyone. 10/10. Deus Ex. Not many games have achieved such compelling, and mature story. Story on sequels felt just too Hollywoodish. I do badly want a remake of this game. Exact same script, but with more added. With modern visuals. One can dream. Added. I see a few of you are saying there's mods. I have seen them. While they certainly do enhance the game, they make the 2000 game look like a game from 2003. Perhaps there's something newer, that I have yet to see. I'll look into it later on when I can. To the Moon is far too unknown for how incredible its story is. My wife had never played a computer game in her life. I asked her to play one game for me, then if it didn't stick I would stop pestering her about my silly games. I chose To the Moon as it was a quick one to get through. Today she has over 100 games in her Steam library, and we often play Valheim together. I loved BioShock, but Mass Effect was also awesome. It's funny because those two games are like the exact opposite, when it comes to the approach of video game storytelling. In one hand leaning into the objective-based interactive medium to say that choice is pointless and free will is a lie, as it poked and mocked at the ideology of objectivism. And on the other hand a game where you play as an interstellar space captain, whose choices are meant to be so important, and impactful they alter the fate of entire civilizations of alien beings. I guess it's a bit like, I like action movies, but romances are good too. Mass Effect is a decent dating sim, with an excellent epic space opera action RPG shooter minigame tacked on. Imagine Mass Effect, but doubling down on the social life to a nearly Sims level, and cutting the whole Reaper thing in favor of tensing the amount of alien culture content, and many explorations of hard sci-fi concepts available. Be a Solarian scientist studying spatial anomalies, around an ancient Asari archaeological site, or a Valis family man trying to figure out how to fund his dream of a Dyson sphere. Grim Fandango. You're a travel agent for the afterlife, where corruption and crime are rampant. Gracias for the awards, comrades. Viva la revolución. Manny, until now we scraped along the ground like rats. But from now on, we soar. Like eagles. Yeah. Like eagles. On pogo sticks. My scythe, I like to keep it next to where my heart used to be. Disco Elysium is the best book I've ever played. Narrator, the words have already left your mouth. I want to make fuck with you. I'm jealous that you'll get to experience it for the first time. It's a real treat. I suggest going in as blind as possible, though I do have two non-spoiler tips. I always give new players. 1. Take the time to go through the custom character options prior to starting the game. 2. Don't be afraid of failing or getting weird with it. Kim is the definition of a good man. Disco Elysium lets you be whatever you want to be, communist, druggie, bouncer etc. At the end of every playthrough, no matter what I choose as my starting stats, I just end up trying to make Kim proud of me. Because he is the best friend you could ask for. I redid the ending fight several times cause I kept messing it up. No way was I hanging out with that Scouser kid. Kuno. I did a playthrough where I got him to change, and it was low-key my favorite ending. The kid sucked but he was just a kid, he had it in him to be better. Play Pentiment. Different vibe but gameplay is very similar. It is one of the best new gaming experiences I've ever had. Didn't think I could fall into a world like I used to as a kid. Wrong. I totally did. I just needed the right game. Pentiment will be regarded as a classic once more people have played it. What a crazy, wonderful thing it is. I'm currently playing Disco Elysium for the first time, and I'm already sad I can't play it for the first time again. Outer Wilds. Such a masterpiece. Sadly it is a one-time experience, but such a beautiful experience. In case you never get rid of it, just please do yourself a favor, and Google nothing. Everything is a spoiler. Even Steam description has a minor spoiler which, when I played, did not know about and it blew my mind. The story and how you piece it together is unlike anything I've ever seen before. Such a great game. I've never played anything like Outer Wilds, and likely never will again. Only game I could compare to would be Myst, but even that isn't accurate. This is my all-time favorite game for sure. There are a few YouTube channels with hours of content dissecting every tidbit of lore found in the game, because it really is that complete and interesting. The game began as a master's thesis in interactive media, and the fact that it is a passion project really shows. I'll admit it's not for everyone. I have urged a few friends to try it, and only one was able to enjoy it like the rest of us that love the game. The others didn't give it much time, because it didn't hook them, I guess. It takes a certain mindset going in, it's not something you want to rush through to try to beat. Save it for a snow day, where you're stuck inside and have a couple hours to be immersed in one of the best and most unique game experiences ever. If things like progress through knowledge, exploration, intricate and complete lore, and some cosmic horror pique your interests, and you want to give this game a try, do yourself a favor and avoid spoilers at all costs. This game can only be experienced to its fullest once, and you'll be googling games like Outer Wilds, frequent repost on r/Outer Wilds, for months after you finish this game. Chrono Trigger. Edit. Wow. All you guys, I want you all to know that even though we may never meet, we are brothers for life. To faraway times long ago, brothers. Oh my goodness, it is exquisitely wonderful. I've had either Quarters of Time or Shala's theme as my ringtone for well over a decade. Fallout, New Vegas. No matter which way you decide to go, it's a great, entertaining storyline. Ever since I played that game a couple years ago, I haven't had another game scratch the same itch. Probably largely had to do with Chris Avalone's writing, but the dialogue options in that game were so hilarious and great. One thing I remember specifically is that you're supposed to train recruits at one point how to fight with guns and grenades, and if your ordnance and firearm skills aren't high enough, you can only give them shitty, inept advice. Like you tell them don't waste bullets trying to hit one target, shoot wildly, and shit like that. Not to downplay Chris's writing, but make sure to shout out John Gonzalez. He was the story lead for New Vegas, and people too often overlook his contribution. Also Josh Sawyer, who was the project director and lead designer. He did an incredible job leading the development process in just 18 months, and putting everything together in a coherent way. He even released a mod post-release called Jay Sawyer's Director's Cut, that rebalances the game, and adds a ton of cool features. He loved the project, so much that he put a ton of extra work into it for free. What I loved about it is that the devs really thought about all small details around how life would be, society would become after an apocalypse. You gotta play it to see it. Truly a masterpiece. I also really appreciated how it rarely came down to violence was the only option. Like, you could build a character to talk your way out of almost anything. Not like games that will let you waste points in intelligence, charisma, stealth and then lock you into a boss battle, where none of that matters. Looking at you, Deus Ex 1. There have been numerous games with awesome storylines, Mass Effect, Dragon Age. But, one of the best? Knights of the Old Republic. BioWare, and would you look at that? BioWare. Jesus Christ, you all. Old BioWare, I get it. It's like this guy has never even heard of Baldur's Gate or Planescape, Torment. COD OR 1 and 2 are absolute classics, 1 more so than 2 in my opinion. KOTOR 1 was one of the first games that I really got into as a kid, and propelled my love for Star Wars as a whole. Revan is my fave Star Wars character. Kriya gets more interesting with every playthrough. I appreciated 2 as I got older. The writing and story made me look at Star Wars and the Force in a whole different way. Gave us Kriya, a super interesting character. Kind of like the Andor of Star Wars games. Assassin's Creed 2. My then girlfriend, who has no interest in playing games, used to watch me playing just because she was so intrigued by it. I usually think of AC as like a virtual vacation, with lots of murder. But seriously, all the cool historic places and people was always the big seller to me for those games. AC 1-4 were especially amazing to me when they came out. The games are still good. The recent RPG-ish nature of M isn't my favorite gameplay-wise, but the locations are still a joy to explore. Final Fantasy VI. Each character is fleshed out, and just when you think the story is over, you realize you're only about halfway through.